Hello everyone, my name is Anitsu and I'm back with another Buddyfight video. Today I'm going to be doing a overview / review on my thoughts and opinions on Glory Valiant. So I don't know exactly when Glory Valiant is going to be coming out, considering the whole pandemic has delayed a lot of things, but when it does come out, it's going to be a very, very powerful set. So even though I've been on the record in saying I really hate it when Bushiroad does these raw updates, I think done correctly, raw updates could be a good thing, and I definitely like the direction that Glory Valiant took them. So basically the whole set is just all updates to all of the Season 1 Ace decks. So not a single archetype is getting an overwhelmingly amount of support except for Yuga and Ranma, because, you know, they're main characters and of course they have to get the most out of everyone else. But that aside, everyone else is getting a good, healthy amount of updates, and all of the updates are very, very powerful and very, very meaningful for the most part. There are a couple of stinkers, but there's always going to be stinkers and bad cards in sets, so that's not that surprising. But I also like the fact that they're doing SR reprint cards of very, very staple and important cards. So, like, Ancient World got Divine Dragon Creation and Dragon Emperor Legend. Those are basically two cards that basically go in every single Ancient World deck and are very, very highly played and highly sought after, and seeing reprints of them with gorgeous new art is always welcome. Yuga got a more Yuga-specific one with Gargantua Switch Mode, and then Ranma got the inverse with a Lost World reprint of Dimension Draw. Even though Dimension Draw was already just reprinted, it never hurts to reprint cards, especially depending on how the reprint is done. So if the reprint is done more like this, the cards aren't necessarily going to be flooding the market, which isn't going to tank the price of all of the other versions of the card. So it just definitely is a good thing seeing all of these reprints. We have a reprint of Yingelgard, which is always welcome. We have a reprint of Nice One. We have a reprint of Star Believer. I just am a huge fan of these SR reprints, and you're guaranteed to get one in a box. So it'll always feel good when you open it because the frame is nice and the alternate artwork is gorgeous. On top of which, it's a very good reprint card. Like, Bonus Quest is a very, very welcome reprint for Dungeon World. So I really like the SR reprints, and I hope to see more of those types of reprints in the future. Something tells me we're not going to see a whole lot of them in the future, but I personally would like to see more of it. But in terms of the support that all of the archetypes are getting, they're all really powerful. Like, the game's been power crept to absolutely insane levels of degrees in a very, very short period of time. I'll have a video kind of covering my thoughts on power creep later, but basically this is just taking all of the older ace decks and making them to the current power level. So that's just a very, very scary thing, because a lot of these decks already weren't bad to begin with, and the fact that now they're just even more powerful makes for a very, very wide meta, and usually when a wide meta happens, things become very matchup specific and coin flip heavy, where everything is just on a very powerful playing field that's semi-equal, but it just depends who you're sitting across from the table and what the RNG is in the event. If you're going to be doing well or not, if you're a good enough player to understand and play your deck correctly. I do enjoy the fact that a lot of decks are competitively viable because of all of these updates, but it comes with its own drawbacks from a more competitive standpoint. From a casual standpoint, it's very good, because you just see your favorite stuff getting even more cards. Even though not all of the cards might not be the best or what they need at the time, it's just nice to see them getting more powerful cards. But as far as the big decks to look out for, obviously G.Evo is going to be huge, and obviously Dimension Dragons are going to be huge. They're probably going to be Tier 1 competitive, and I think Dimension Dragons is definitely going to be almost that Tier 0 because of just the sheer power that comes from Lost World, and they are the best deck to go into Lost World. So they're probably going to be the closest to a Tier 0 deck with this set, and that's kind of scary because they were always Tier 1 ever since they were released, and it was just kind of insane. As far as the other big decks to look out for, I think Max Dragons is going to make a slight comeback. They definitely got a whole lot of new and powerful tools. The new Zebros just looks absolutely insane. Their new item looks really good. They have a new spell that's really solid. Like, it's just a very good-looking deck at this point. I think Godpunks is also going to be really good because they're that surprise anti-meta deck where it's just like, if you don't necessarily prepare for them, they will just come and, like, clap you. And then you got Cursed Dragons. Cursed Dragons, their big problem before was getting to 15 cards under the opponent's flag was just too slow. But now they have new cards to help the consistency and increase the amount of cards going under the flag at a faster rate. So now they're looking to be pretty scary. On top of which, they already had some very, very, very good defensive options, and the fact that this deck is getting better is just actually kind of surprising, and it's just looking to be very solid. Then, obviously, I said G.Evo is looking very good. Their new support is all very strong. Obviously, the two best worlds to play G.Evo in is Magic World and Ein. You play Magic World because it's Magic World, and their Magic World side has some really good tools, and you play Ein literally to play just a good combination of everything that they had. And their new item is definitely very, very powerful and very, very scary, and the fact that they basically almost copy and pasted this item for all three of their worlds is definitely really scary, and depending on what worlds the opponent is playing in can change how the deck is played kind of dramatically, but the item is going to be a consistent problem. Then Dimension Dragons, obviously Dimension Dragons is looking very good. All of their support is really solid, but the big important thing to Dimension Dragons is the fact that Lost World got a whole bunch of new cards, and they all look very, very powerful. Like, being able to oppress is very, very powerful already, and the fact that now Lost World has it, and Lost World monsters don't have sizes, means that you could just run away with the fact that you could oppress the opponent is just very scary. You have the new Blood Eyes, which basically tells your opponent, hey, I'm going to control how your combat phase goes. And that's just already insanely powerful because you could set them up to basically lose on their combat step. And then they have a Power Crept Vanity because, you know, why not? Power Creep is already so high, so why not just continue to blast it through the roof? And then they just have some other really, really solid tools and good cards. So, like, yeah, just why not make Lost World even more powerful than it was before? And it was already very powerful before. And then I think Astros is looking pretty good. They were usually pretty good before, but now that they just have more tools that are just more up-to-date and more powerful, they're looking even more stronger. And then I think Draw Metals is definitely looking really good because their consistency is absolutely through the roof. all of the things that the set is doing is just very, very powerful. Electrodeities is another one where they basically got access to their own specific counterspells. So now they have 2 different types of counterspells that they can run. It's just crazy. But yeah, I think the set is looking very, very powerful. A lot of decks are going to be very, very competitively viable, and I look forward to seeing how Bushiroad can top this, not in like an excited manner, but in a worrisome manner, because the last 3 sets have been power crept to an insane level where I just don't know where they could go next. So hopefully when they announce what's coming next, it'll be very, very exciting. I don't think the game is going to be dying. It's still making the money, so as long as it's making the money, they're going to still continue to support it. We haven't had an announcement of a cancellation, because usually they would do it months in advance, so they're probably just put on delay due to the whole pandemic thing on announcing what comes next. But as of my thoughts on the set, I think it's a very good set. I think it's a very powerful set. It makes me very worried about how the power level of the game has increased so much in such a short period of time. But, you know, people like fast games, people like exciting moments, and this set is basically creating that for a lot of decks. So, just one big thing to note, it is a smaller pack size, it is a smaller box size, and it is a smaller case size than your usual small set. So, yeah, that's kind of all I have on Glory Valiant. It looks to be a very solid set, and it makes me very worried on how they top this. With all that being said, feel free to leave a comment down below on what deck you are looking forward to playing as of Glory Valiant, or just any thoughts you have in general you could leave in the comments. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe for more Buddyfight content, and I will see you in the next video.